Get cozy everybody, because today we'll continue on a game called The Devil's Whisper. Why does my voice sound like this? Was I drinking something weird? Let's load up. Where were we? At the end of the last hour of classes, I decided to go to the school library to study for a while. I didn't want to go home. I know I would have to tell Mom about what happened yesterday, and it didn't feel like that at the moment. Good afternoon, miss. Oh, good afternoon. I was so distracted that I didn't see the man at the reception desk in the library. He was an old man, well known to everyone in the school. Few students were friends with him, and I was not one of them, unfortunately. On multiple occasions, I was penalized for not returning books on time, or even completely forgetting that I had borrowed them, so now we're holding a grudge. Any interest in a particular book? No, thank you. I'm just here to study for a while. I smiled at him, and then turned to where the study carrels were located. Carrels? Is that how you pronounce it? However, as I turned and saw the pile of books, an idea crossed my mind. Actually, I'm looking for a book, more like an encyclopedia or something similar. Name and author. Name and author. I'm not sure. Could you help me find something? I don't have all the time in the world, kiddo. What are you looking for? Now. You think all that taking care of a library is a quiet, easy job? Believe me, it's not. So don't waste my time anymore. We both have things to do. Yeah. I'm looking for some encyclopedia about sorcery. I beg your pardon? It's for a school assignment, you know. Principal Gibson is aware of it. We're doing research on the culture of Risserfield City, and it seems that many settlements that originated here practice magic and perform spells. I know that spells aren't real, but, well, it's important to know every part of history, isn't it? Sean, for goodness sake, I'm a lot older than you. I know the history of this place through and through. But sorcery, what a coincidence. Just a few weeks ago, I lent a book on demonology, if I'm not mistaken. Demonology? Yeah, but that's another subject. Look, I have this encyclopedia available. The man got up from his chair, walked slowly to one of the shelves, and picked up a book. He dropped it roughly into my hands, causing my hand to hunch under the weight of the book. Risserfield City History and Traditions, Volume 1. Is there really anything in here about what I asked you? No, not exactly, but it's as close as you can get to finding out if rituals were practiced by the natives of this place. Thank you. How long can I take the book for? You can't. Excuse me? Miss, I don't think I need to remind you that because of your bad record, you are strictly banned from borrowing any books from this library. I always assumed this day would come, but I never thought it would be precisely at this time. Fuck. The timing is incredible. Heck, just now when I really need to research something very important which is not at all related to my studies. Can I at least read the book here? Oh yeah, of course. What you do or don't do is none of my business, miss. Is there anything else I can help you with then? No, I don't think so. Well, then I have a very busy day and I can't waste my time with this childishness. If on other occasions this man was only impolite, he knew how to play his cards perfectly to prevent me from doing my bidding. I moved as far away from him as I could to read in peace. I didn't want him to bother me with any questions or to call my attention to insignificant things, as he always does. The cover of the encyclopedia showed a group of people dressed in traditional costumes of the region and gathered around the campfire. As I opened the book, I tried to locate something in the index that would be of use to me. Native tribes, clothing, traditional foods. Yeah, here's something. Urban Legends and Rituals, page 748. I turned the pages quickly, seeing in the process some images of the natives in their villages, which seemed to be on the outskirts of what is now our city. Arriving at the indicated page, the first thing to be found was a notice. The following contents are nothing more than a compilation of opinions and personal experiences of people who dwelled with the original tribes of Risserfield before their extinction. Ultimately, what was found here seemed to lack scientific validity and were mostly tales, perhaps only legends that cannot be verified because of their very nature. A barely visible image of the remains of what appears to be a ritual adorned the center of the sheet. Tribes settled in the coastal area of Risserfield. Rister, I'm not really sure. I think it's Reister. But then again, there is a word such as Mary. So, R-Y. So is it Risserfield? Had strong beliefs towards certain deities, the identities of which still are unknown. People speak of worships towards other sorcerers, gods very much of their culture, and even demons. On the next page are listed some examples of rituals, offerings, and praises performed by the natives to have good harvests, procure fertile offspring, and even the resurrection of the dead. This is it. Here must be what I'm looking for. I had a strong suspicion that we were being victims of some such ritual. I could find no other explanation. My dreams about a man performing a spell at the school gates, the grimoire we found, the incident with the car on the road. What else could it be? I was only a page away from confirming if my suspicions were real. Just a wave of my mind and the whole truth would be revealed to me. And when I finally got the courage to do it, what I found in the book were more pages. The pages on which I thought I found the fruit of my concern were torn out of. What a fucking timing. Incredible timing. No, damn it. Be quiet or I'll be forced to take you out of the library. Despite the man's warning, I focused all my attention on continuing to examine the book. The next page, the only one left in the section, was completely stretched out with unrecognizable manuscripts on top of all the drawings and information. Shouldn't you inform the librarian about this? Like, sir, excuse me, like the book is torn out and stuff? Can you do something about it? Like, this is why we need digital books right now, because digital books don't get torn up unlike normal books. And the rest of the pages were roughly torn out, even leaving small pieces, as if the person who did it barely had time to accomplish their task. I quickly got up from the table and ran to the librarian. Sir, do you know if anyone tampered with the books here? Oh yeah, she's gonna do it now. I'm afraid I don't understand your question. The pages of the section on witchcraft, they've been torn out. Oh, that's impossible. Let me check. The librarian took the book and realized that what I mentioned was true. But the man's expression was one of shock and utter horror, unable to utter a single word. But when he frowned, I knew that whatever came out of his mouth would not exactly be kind words. You! It was you! What? This book, it's only a few days ago that... No. Principal Gibbs said it's going to kill me. This was one of the first copies and it's smashed. Smashed because of your damn irresponsibility. Sir, I swear that. Get out of the library. The man slammed the table with one hand while pointing to the exit with the other. I order you to leave immediately. And next time you're completely denied access to the library. You have been warned. But sir, you can... Where would I even put the fucking torn pages? Why not ask the person who borrowed it previously? That is an order. Alright. And you are a screamer. That was also unexpected. I was in complete shock after seeing the man's reaction. I don't understand. Why would someone want to destroy the book? God, the deeper I get into this, the weirder it gets. A slight but sudden headache made me close my eyes. After that, strange and familiar voices began to echo inside me. Come over here. Come closer. I could feel my head throbbing with every heartbeat. Did I really hear that, or was it just part of my imagination? But the worst part was that the questions I was asking myself were answered by the voices. You know we're here, Amelia. Again? What? I shook my head and ran down the stairs, as if running was really going to save me from something that was going on inside me. But what else could I do? Physical fitness, that helps the body. Maybe some Tamil would help me reflect. No, it won't. Or maybe it'll make things worse. Yes, it will. Tajan. Next. I feel so lost. Where did I go now? What's the next step? And now with the voices too. The voices from my dream that were coming into my reality. Thinking about it further, I didn't know if what the voices were trying to tell me was good or bad. I had never really thought about what they were trying to communicate to me or why. Was there a possibility that what they were trying to tell me was not to torment me but to guide me on a path? I didn't know the answer to any of my questions, and most likely I wasn't going to find out anytime soon. But I must find out what's behind all this. Well. I took a bus from the school bus stop and let it take me anywhere. Great start, like let's get lost. I didn't care if I went too far away from home. I needed to think to let myself come to a conclusion. I ended up in a well-known park in town. The view of the pond gave it a natural, peaceful feel. It was just what I needed. What now? The same question was going around in my head and kept repeating itself countless times. No one believed my fears. They took it as if they were ravings. And hell, they might be right. Maybe I had gone too far. But I wasn't just acting on impulse, and none of them seemed to have the dreams I frequently have. I don't wish them on them at all, but if they felt the fear of being so vividly inside a dream and being aware that you are dreaming but still unable to wake up from it, maybe they would understand me a little more. At least, I think they would at least partially agree with me. Amelia? I recognized a familiar voice just inches behind me. I turned around excitedly, knowing who it was. Upon seeing him, I felt even more blissful. Andrew! Hi there, Amelia. The peace that this boy transmitted to me was indescribable. It was an emotion, and then I proceed to describe it immediately anyway. It was an emotion I discovered with him that had been preserved from the moment we met. I was expecting anything but to find you here. It's a pleasant coincidence, I mean. Plot twist, he's a stalker. Same here, I didn't even think a meeting with you was possible. I thought you were going shopping with Madison or something, she told me. No, it looks like she went off with Conrad. You know, when girls have boyfriends, we brothers take a back seat. Oh, come on. Madison may be a little harsh, but she never forgets her favorite brother, and the only one, really. Hahaha, thank you. But that doesn't answer my question. Why did you come to this place? Oh, nothing really. I like to come here in the evenings when I'm bored and want some fresh air. But how are you feeling? Are you a bit calmer? Oops, let's just say it hasn't been a particularly quiet day. That doesn't sound good at all. Can I do anything for you then? Not really, or well, if we could find some missing pages of a super old book that even the library doesn't have, maybe you could help me. I'm afraid I won't be able to do much about that. Are you looking into what you told us today then? Would it bother you if I said yes? No, not at all. Amelia, I'm not here to judge you. I understand if you're worried. What happened yesterday was a crazy thing. I can hardly believe it myself. But you can't let your life be controlled by an accident, and an accident that had no further consequences. I felt Andrew's words so personal and deep. I knew he had no bad intentions, but it still hurt so much to hear that he didn't believe me one bit. Andrew, do you think I'm overreacting too much? I mean, this whole thing, do you think I'm going too far? I wouldn't say that. If I were you, I would go to a fucking rehab or a mental asylum. Let the experts examine me whether or not these voices in my head are true or not. Just saying. I think you have genuine concern for looking out for the integrity of all of us. That speaks very well of you, your values, and how much your parents have taken care of you. But I think you're putting yourself at risk by putting so much importance on something that probably won't get you anywhere. And that was the straw that broke the camel's back. Tears were streaming down my face. Once again I was crying inconsolably, just like this morning. Andrew realized how bad I was feeling. You fucking insensitive bastard! Why the fuck did you tell the truth? Andrew realized how bad I was feeling, came over to me and pulled me into his arms. I was unable to resist because, I was crying. I hung from his neck. Oh no, he's fucking choking me. This isn't MMA. I hung from his neck and squeezed him with all my strength. Yeah, fuck you, bear hug. Oh, that hug. Above everything that was going on around me, above how desperate I felt for not finding answers, above everything else was this. This small moment where the tightness between our bodies gave us a momentarily warmth. A warmth so special that I knew it would stay in my memories for a long time. Andrew, I'm scared. Andrew paused for a few seconds, possibly thinking about how to react to my confession. Would you feel better if you told me the reason? I didn't answer his question. We both knew what I was going to answer. I paused for a moment to contemplate over every part of this situation. I'm so afraid that deep down this is nothing more than a way to avoid reality. My nightmares are coming back, just like when I was a child. Every day I had a different nightmare, but always, every night, it was a dream that left me anxious for the rest of the day. Sometimes they were very intense nightmares, like dreaming that my family died in an accident or at the hands of some murderer. Other times there were dreams that appeared to be happy. I could be with my friends playing peacefully, and from one moment to the next it would start to rain. What a nightmare! But it was a rain so cold, so overwhelming, the beauty of the world was gone in a single instant. Drop by drop that fell also fell my illusion. What? That fell also fell? Huh? I don't get it. Andrew, I was just a child. How could I face something like this? It wasn't a monster in the dark. It wasn't fear of the clowns, needles, or spiders. The fear came from myself. Every time I watched the night fall, I cried. I dreaded bedtime for fear of having a nightmare. Have you tried heavy medication? And when sleep finally made me give up, I would get up screaming and run to my parents' room to tell them that I had dreamt about something horrible. They tried to make me braver by leaving me alone in my room, and I don't blame them. I understand that it was their way of confronting my own fears. But every day I felt worse. Day by day I faced different fears. They never went away. I'm afraid they haven't gone away to this day. And lately, with the move and dad's promotion, it's only made us drift apart. I barely see his face early in the morning. When he drops me off at the school gate, I never see him again during the day. The nightmares started to come back, daddy issues, little by little, each night becoming more intense and more real. And just last night, with everything that happened, I had the most vivid dream I've ever felt in my entire existence. I'm afraid I'm becoming obsessed with all of this, just because I want to give it an explanation to my dreams. I want to feel that there's more to it, and that my dreams don't happen just because. Andrew let go of me and slowly lowered his arms, wiping away the tears that were still leaking from my face with his thumbs. Ew, did you even wash your hands, dude? I'm kind of a germaphobe. You feeling a little better now? I was feeling better. Definitely felt better. At least I felt liberated. Andrew knew exactly how to take a weight off my shoulders. Yeah, it's all in the legs. When lifting in the gym, it's all in the legs. Look, Amelia, we all have bad times, and a lot of times we can't do anything about it. This is the kind of circumstance where other people can't help you. It's up to you to find your peace of mind. I am with you, Amelia. I may not be physically by your side all the time, but you always have my support as a friend. As a friend. Andrew really was another level of friendship, all the understanding in the world made person. I sighed and nodded my head. I felt good for now. Thank you. You didn't have to listen to me. You know I'm more than happy to do so. Mom will pick me up in a few minutes. Do you mind if I take you home? Let's save here. Save here. Back. Okay, I'll go with you. I nodded my head. You know, it's such a hassle to do something else. Like, if someone's gonna give me a free ride, free offer, sure, go ahead. I nodded my head again. I understood Andrew's concern, and I didn't want to antagonize him after he had listened to me after all this time. Are you sure it's not a problem? Of course not. I'm not going to leave you like this. Besides, your mom must be worried. Mom, speaking of her, I want to apologize for yesterday. What? You know what she said about how I always talk about you? Oh, no, not at all. It made me feel good. Really? Yeah, it's feeding my ego. Your mom is lovely, Amelia. It must be something very important to you if she said so. Kind of. We waited patiently for Andrew's mom to come by and pick us up. After a few minutes, I thought that was an actual car. After a few minutes, his mom arrived at the park and parked the car in the corner, honking the horn to get our attention. Come on, we're late. We hurried to get in the car. Andrew got in the front of the seat with his mom, and I stayed behind in the back seat. Cool. During the drive, Andrew and his mom talking about various things, the weather, Madison's boyfriend, how their day had been going for each of them. They had a common mother-son conversation with no need to alter their dynamic by my presence. And I certainly wasn't in that place, not mentally at least. I didn't want to come home. I was afraid to talk to Mom. I know she's the only person who would really talk some sense into me and give up my idea about investigating and making sense of what's going on. So when Andrew's mom dropped me off at my front door, I said goodbye to them and waited for them to leave, pretending to go inside. As soon as I lost sight of the car, I headed for the nearest bus stop. What? I'm going to go back there? If I wasn't going to be able to find a solution, I wanted to at least check one thing before I gave up. I wasn't going to give up today. Not today. If I still had a chance to find answers, I was going to take this road. At least, it was a small hope. This was better than sitting around waiting for things to work themselves out. Or maybe I was denying to myself that I once again had a nightmare disorder, and that these days, what has happened has been nothing more than a consequence of my paranoia and a way of dodging reality. But everything was better. I preferred anything rather than accept that I had a disorder again. Oh, my neck. Oof, don't forget to stretch, boys. Night was just minutes away from falling, so it was almost a miracle that I arrived on time. At this time, there were only a few students, some because they were staying up late studying, others because they were doing their homework here at school. But what was important, the entrance was almost completely deserted. I waited for a few minutes, making sure that no students were around, neither inside the school nor on the street. When I sensed that I was without anyone around me, I dropped to the ground. I knew the exact position on the floor. I would even say millimetrically. There you go. And certainly that piece of land was different from the rest. The other bushes were well placed, cared for to give a good appearance. But right in this spot, where in my dreams a man was digging a hole, the soil was fresh, just placed. It was only a short time since someone had disturbed it to bury something. I had no tools to dig with, so I had no choice but to use my bare hands. Ugh. I buried my fingernails as deep as I could, lifting the dirt with all my might. It was painful at first, sure, but gradually the dirt began to rise as my hands did. My uniform was a mess, and it was starting to feel nauseous and dizzy. But I finally got it. I dug the hole in the same place as in my dream. This is... What? What? The pages? The objects I saw in my dream, the pins, the dolls, all the items, were inside the hole. But no. It's real then. It's real? I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't believe it. For a single second I felt reassured that I was right. I wasn't imagining anything. There was something behind all this. On the other hand, the fact that I was right meant that there was something behind it all. In contradiction to myself, I felt good and felt bad. Yay! Fuck, it's real. But of one thing I was sure, it wasn't just a dream. It was a vision, a warning. What do I do now? I really don't know what to do. I carefully placed the earth inside the hole, trying not to touch any object. Whether it's sorcery or witchcraft or whatever, I'm sure it won't do me any good to handle these objects. I wiped my hands a bit, running them over my skirt, and then stood up with one hand on my forehead. The headaches were getting worse, intensifying with each passing minute. Confused, I ran back to the bus stop with what little energy I had left. Now it was time to stop for a second and think about what I was going to do. I wasn't entirely sure which direction to take my little investigation, so I couldn't tell someone about my progress. However, there was something I wanted to corroborate elsewhere after the incident with the librarian. Maybe a few hours ago I would have said it. It was completely foolish to go ahead with this, let alone taking Andrew's advice into account. But I had finally proven something. What was happening in my dreams also happened in real life. I mean, this whole mess was finally getting me somewhere. That meant something. It meant that I was going down the wrong path. That I was investigating made some sense. Now I felt a little more motivated, tired too, of course, but at least I had something to go on. A proof. A place where there was evidence that we were being victimized by something or someone. Ow, my neck. Oof. Wow. I arrived at the city's central library hoping to find a little more information here than my school library. A kind old lady greeted me at the library door. Hello, miss. Good evening. We are about to close. Is there anything I can help you with? I sighed. I didn't want to go through the same thing that happened in the afternoon with the school librarian, so I had to think of a smarter way to formulate what I was looking for. I'm looking for a book. Sure you are, pretty lady. We are in the library. Whatever you want regarding books, I will fulfill it if I can. Thank you very much. You are very kind. I'm looking for this book, Westerfield City History and Traditions, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, but of course, it's a very expensive encyclopedia on the culture of our place. It talks about the history of Westerfield City from its origins with the tribes that inhabited the surrounding area, and how it gradually transformed into this beautiful city. Yeah, you're right. That's exactly what I'm looking for. I understand that there are numerous volumes. At this moment, we only have the first one available. Actually, I'm looking for the first volume. Oh, miss, I'm sorry to tell you that it's too late for me to generate a library card for you. All the computers are already turned off. I really don't mind if I come tomorrow for that book you're interested in, miss. Thank you very much. I just want to check something. Is there any problem if I take a quick look at it? Absolutely not. No problem at all. Follow me, please. It's in this aisle. The kind librarian took her bag and slung it over her shoulder, already prepared to leave, so this was probably the last thing she would do, and then close the library. Looking at it from that point of view, it was very pertinent to come and bother an elderly lady who was about to finish her working day. Everything has a purpose, Amelia. It was just this, and then I would go quietly to rest at home. Maybe not as quietly as I would like, but at least I had hoped that all this would sow me in some determination. After traversing several aisles, we finally arrived at the appropriate section, dictionaries and encyclopedias. It seems to me that it is right on this shelf. The lady raised her hand and lowered one of the books to our height. It was indeed the encyclopedia we were looking for. The lady passed the heavy tome to my hands, and once again I saw the same cover. Would you prefer to sit down and read it? It's going to be very uncomfortable to read it like this. No, it's okay. I just want to check something. I opened the book and turned the pages to the same section I was researching a few hours ago, urban legends and rituals. The first page of the section contained the same information, a warning to the top of the page, one about the probable untruthfulness of the data that would be mentioned later. The following quote is nothing more than a compilation of the yeah. Yes, this is definitely the same book. Again, I grabbed the bottom corner of the page and set about flipping it over. Please don't let the pages be torn. No, no, no! Damn it, why? Unfortunately, it happened when I was so afraid of. The next pages of exactly the same reason of the encyclopedia were also torn off. Miss, is something wrong? They're torn out, damn it, these pages are torn out too. My god, it's true. This book has been preserved for decades. There are only a few copies. I find it hard to believe that someone would actually have an interest in getting rid of it. My breathing became heavy. I was having a panic attack over this. But I wasn't going to let it happen. This wasn't the time to get upset. Not yet. So I kept my composure and asked the librarian a question. Ma'am, is there any chance you could give me the names of the people who have borrowed the book lately? No, I'm afraid it's impossible. It's a part of the privacy protocol. Please, maybe that will give us a clue as to who did this. I'm very sorry, but I'm unable to help you with that. I will take it upon myself to contact the last person to whom this book was loaned, I promise. To my mind, there were two questions of paramount importance here, and they were the root from which all the problems stemmed. Who was doing this, and why were they doing it? The first question could not be answered at the moment, but the second, perhaps it was a matter of inference. Who would be interested in anyone else being able to consult the contents of this book? Excuse me, do you keep copies of your books digitally? Yeah, that's a good question. Most of the books have a copy on the Westerfield Central Library homepage. However, if you're looking for an exact copy of this book, I'm afraid you won't be able to find it online. Why? You see, there are more updated versions, revisions, corrections, even censorship. Censorship? You mean the new encyclopedias in town don't contain some of the information? Of course, there are a lot of power games involved. So many people involved in omitting some of our history from the books, including political figures. Cornelia Gibson, the headmistress of Westerfield Academy, is one of those people. They say it's unnecessary to tell the urban legends, the myths, the customs that the natives had, as if it's not also a fundamental part of our own history. But why do it such an archaic way, then? It was as simple as removing the books, taking them off the shelves. No, there must be someone else then. Someone who doesn't want specifically certain people to find a section of the book, and that person also doesn't have the power to censor information on a mass level. This person was aware that there were no digital copies of this encyclopedia, and that physically ripping out these pages erased all evidence that they ever existed. If only I could know what was written here. I tried to process everything I had discovered up to this point. I still couldn't figure out what the connection was between the incident with the car, the grimoire, the witchcraft objects I found buried, and the missing pages of the encyclopedia. But if there was one thing I was so sure of, it couldn't be a coincidence. There were too many things happening simultaneously. There were loose threads that they were related in some way, some form that I did not yet fully understand. I handed the book back to the librarian and thanked her for her kind help. Thank you for everything. You have been very patient. Please, if you change your mind, don't hesitate to dial me. I took a piece of paper out of my purse and took out a pen to write down my number. I handed the paper to the woman and bowed my head slightly, a little out of prayer and a little out of gratitude. As I was about to leave, with one hand on the front door handle, the woman gently took my arm. What are you doing? Please, miss, don't go yet. There is something that might be of help to you. Would you mind giving me a few minutes? I was more than surprised. What did this woman know that could help me in any way? She wasn't going to give me the name of the person she lent the book to, so what else could she offer me? Money! I need you to come with me. Sounds suspicious. The lady walked in a strange direction close to one of the service halls. After a few seconds, I followed her lead and went after her. We got EasyCard. Come closer. You can do it. Come closer. Again, I felt the voice echoing in every part of myself. The same voices from my dream, the same voices I heard at school, the voices I had ignored without realizing that they might be revealing a profound truth to me. Closer. Not far. I shook my head hard this time. Oh my god, it's dark. Is something the matter? It's dark. Hearing the librarian's voice brought me back to reality. This must be the result of the nightmares. No, I'm fine. It's a little dark in the hallway, isn't it? Don't worry, miss. A few more steps and we'll get there. There you go. The sound of a door and the faint rays of light coming from an old lamp made us find our way. I was mildly confused. All this way to come to the library archive, and in a place so far away from the rest of the building. It was more than strange. Excuse me, what are we doing here? Oh, you have nothing to worry about. Pretty girl, I'd like to ask you a question. Yeah, sure, go ahead. Have you ever heard of The Guardians of the Light? I've heard of a movie, The Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 1, 2, 3. They're all good. Never heard of Light, though. The Guardians of the Light. Why did that sound so familiar? They're Green Lanterns. I don't know. I think my father once told me a legend about it, but I have too vague a memory to say I remember anything concrete. Not much, actually. Here, take this. The lady took a book from a shelf and placed it on the table. It was a small book, so small that it fit in the palm of my hand. The Legend of the Guardians of Light. The cover illustration was hand embroidered, stitch by stitch, giving it a curious texture as my fingers made contact with the object. As I looked up, in front of me was the librarian's gaze fixed on mine, analyzing me in every expression, gesture, or movement I made. What are you waiting for? Open it. A peculiar smell was wafting from the pages. This was the typical aroma that comes from an object that has been stored for years and that has already affected my humidity. The first words were handwritten in cursive, making it moderately difficult to read. But without waiting any longer, and after the gentlewoman's insistence, I began to read in my mind. Our world is ruled by beings and entities beyond human comprehension. Nowadays, people refer to them as angels, to pure entities, and demons to evil entities. We know that all over the world, there are good and bad entities. What we will see below is the world of the people, in a story that is usually transmitted orally, but told here through the pages. Legend has it that 4 pure entities that inhabit our world, located at each of 4 cardinal points, are the ones who keep evil entities that want to interfere in people's lives at bay. These beings who defend people are the Guardians of Light. Different communities throughout humanity try to find remnants, evidence, or just some hint that these beings were or even are real. But if other human being needs his guidance, direction, and advice beyond the earthly plane, the Guardians of Light will take care of to provide all the necessary wisdom and illuminate the path of the lost person. All that remains of this gripping folktale is the quest to find the secret location where the Guardians of Light dwell, known as the center of the universe. Hardly a few human beings dare say that they set foot in this mysterious place, and that is because there dwell the darkest truths a human being can come across. I was the one who ate that ice cream yesterday. Not you. I'm sorry. Your mom yelled at you. It is said that no one who visits the lands of light, the center of the universe, will be able to return same because of evil beings the Guardians of Light trapped there. In a vague attempt to encounter the lands of light, ironically, people become lost and trapped in dark caves, mountains, and forests. Perhaps it is an indication that only the chosen ones can find such a devout place. Few people, few beings, perhaps the purest, or on the contrary, the most impure are those who have the joy of being guided by the Guardians of Light to find the right path, unanswered to the most stormy exits. Trust them with your life as you would trust your parents. As I finished reading, I was silent for several minutes. Uh-oh. I have to edit here, fellas. I gotta prepare for work. So far, so many... Yep, see over here. Yep, still pretty interesting. Holy shit. What are we going to do now? Like... So we don't have a mental illness. So that's good to know. So yeah, this is the Devil's Whisper. If you want to try the game for yourselves, the links are in the description. That is all for today. Stay safe and take care of yourselves.